Look at the sheer density of Dhaka. By 2050, demographic projections show 60% of Bangladesh's population will be living in urban areas like this. This density fuels a market expanding to a $2.84 trillion valuation by 2029. But across this growth is a severe threat, a 10% inflation rate eroding affordability. Compounding this is a 35% transaction failure rate, driven by forged documents and title disputes. Buyers are caught between immense wealth generation, suburban properties seeing 60 to 150% growth over a 5-year period, and severe systemic risks that can wipe out their entire principal. Finding a safe entry point means mapping the current geography of the market against the rigid legal realities of 2025. It requires matching specific neighborhoods to your exact capital constraints and risk tolerance. Buying a plot of land in Dhaka and blindly waiting for it to appreciate is a guaranteed way to lose money. Success today demands a highly targeted, defensive strategy. The first strategy targets the established course, places like Gulshan, Bashundhara, and Uttara. Operating here requires massive upfront capital. Buyers face steep holding taxes and high developer markups to acquire premium real estate in gentrified blocks. In exchange for that capital, you receive immediate utility. These units are move-in ready, offering neighborhood stability and access to mature infrastructure from day one. The trade-offs are strict. You face stagnant rental yields relative to those massive purchase prices, and you have to navigate the daily reality of severe infrastructure overload and traffic congestion. The established core is a capital preservation play. It makes sense if you prioritize immediate lifestyle stability over a high percentage return on investment. The second strategy focuses on emerging megaprojects and suburbs, specifically Rajek's Porbachal Newtown project and expansions in Karanganj. The draw here is the blueprint. You get access to planned green urban design featuring 100-foot canals and strict compliance with the detailed area plan, which creates the runway for massive capital appreciation. It also requires significantly less initial capital compared to the core, opening the market to a wider base of investors. The primary trade-off is time. Investors must tolerate severe infrastructure delays, as critical bridges and utility networks are still actively under construction. These peripheral zones also carry elevated environmental risks, specifically increased vulnerabilities to severe flooding and long-term climate change impacts. Megaprojects are for patient capital. You must be willing to lock up your money for years and heavily discount the completion timelines promised by developers. Whether you choose the core or suburbs, the true hidden cost of Dhaka real estate in 2025 is the legal and regulatory friction. To survive the 35% failure rate, follow this 5-step due diligence matrix. First, trace the Khatian, the historical record, and secure the mutation certificate. Next, verify the title deed, secure Rajuk land use clearance, and obtain an environmental clearance certificate. This process guarantees your legal ownership in the digitized registry, but it requires specialized legal counsel, creates immense administrative friction, and adds an extra 6 to 7% to your costs in stamp duties and registration fees. Attempting to skip this due diligence to save time or money is the single most reliable way to lose your entire principal investment. You also have to factor in how the buildings themselves are changing. Developers are increasingly integrating smart IoT systems and green building practices to attract remote workers and tech-savvy buyers. These new developments strictly adhere to the updated BNBC guidelines for structural safety and energy efficiency. The catch is that developers pass the costs of these premium materials and systems directly to the buyer, aggravating the city's affordability crisis. While this innovation lowers operational costs over the long term, it actively pushes entry-level buyers further out of the market. Between inflation, compliance friction, and shifting geography, your strategy has to be personalized. This decision tree starts with one question: what is your primary constraint? If you are a local end user relying on a home loan, your primary constraint is needing immediate housing. Because high inflation makes bridging loans incredibly dangerous for you, avoid speculative megaprojects. Target established secondary markets like Mirpur and Mohammadpur. The utility is immediate, and the Rajuk compliance is already settled. If you are an investor, your constraint is maximizing yield. deploy capital in Purwochal and Karanganj for infrastructure appreciation, accepting a 5 to 10-year holding period. Finally, if you are a non-resident Bangladeshi buying from abroad, your constraint is a lack of on-the-ground visibility. Your biggest threat isn't market stagnation, it is title fraud and unapproved joint venture contracts. You must limit your purchases exclusively to rehab-certified developers holding clear environmental clearance certificates, and you must verify all digitized land records via the government's e-Porcha system. Do not chase cheap suburban plots from overseas without trusted, on-the-ground legal representation managing the paperwork. The Dhaka real estate market actively punishes the uninformed. But for those who carefully align their timeline and capital with the strict realities of 2025, the potential for generational wealth is very real.